Well, in our first story, the Member of Parliament for the Mfantseman constituency, Ekow, Quansah, Hayford, has reportedly been shot dead. According to information reaching Joy News, he was shot at the Eyewitness Mfantseman Road on his return from a campaign trip. Our man in the Central Region, Richard Kojenyako, joins us via Zoom now with some details. Richard, I guess not a very good morning, but what time did this happen? What do we know? Well, I'm afraid we have some challenge there with the sound to Richard Kojenyako. We're going to restore that, and I guess it's working now. Richard, we couldn't quite hear you when you first started speaking, so you have to start again for us. You're telling us about the time that this happened.
Well, so Mama V, the MP and his team went to the Abiazi Dominasi area on a campaign mission. So they campaigned deep into the night. This incident really happened around 1 a.m. When we were returning from Abiazi Dominasi and they go to Dwaze, there were these armed men, we are told by eyewitnesses and those who were with the MP in the vehicle, that they numbered about 6. They ordered them to stop, but the driver felt that he could drive through them. And so in the process, the driver was shot. And so he lost control of the vehicle. And then the vehicle became stationary. They ordered all of them to calm down, including the MP. The MP lay down, as well as the other people. They seized the items on them. And then the MP identified himself that I am the sitting MP for this area and all of that. But one of them uttered was that, well, we are even looking for you. You are part of the people that have made Ghana very difficult. And so they shot him twice at the back. And so when the police got there, I mean, the robbers, the supposed robbers, had left the scene, and it brought a lot of wailing in the constituency. It's been a very difficult morning for the people here at the Mfantseman constituency to witness that, or to hear that the Member of Parliament and then the parliamentary candidate for the New Patriotic Party has been shot dead while returning from a campaign mission. The body has been sent to the Sopon government hospital. A lot of people are trooping to the hospital at the moment. They are also going to his residence. A lot of the big wigs. He was with the first vice chairman of the New Patriotic Party. He was part of the campaign team in this when this particular incident happened. And so it's really pretty difficult. It's a sad situation the people here find themselves.
Richard, if these guys are armed robbers, did they take anything away?
Yes, we're told that they seized mobile phones and other things that were on them. And so they took other things as well. And then they also injured some and then shot the MP.
What are eyewitnesses saying in terms of the number of people in the MP's vehicle?
Well, for now, a lot of people are finding it difficult to find words to describe what really happened. And so that really hasn't come up. They are mourning over the loss of the Member of Parliament. That particular stretch that this incident happened, I mean, it's very dark. It's not well lit. And so previously, we've had incident of this nature happen on that particular stretch. That particular area is also under construction. The road is not tarred. And so the people lay siege there, and they decided to do this dastardly act that has resulted in the death of the sitting Member of Parliament for the area.
Richard Kojenyako, there's still a lot more work for you to do, so we'll leave it here. We'll come back to you a bit later on in our show, and then hopefully we'll have some more questions that we are asking answered. Richard Kojenyako is our Central Regional correspondent, telling us about what eyewitnesses have been saying in terms of what led to the death of the sitting Member of Parliament for Mfantseman. He joined the 7th Parliament and he was in the race again, going for the December 7 polls. In fact, just 2 weeks ago, our sister station at Doom TV, the Bidrim crew had visited the constituency and had a conversation with him. There will be more on this later on here on the AM show. Away from that though, but still related to accidents and elections, the national organizer of the New Patriotic Party, Sami Ewuku, has been involved in an accident on the Ejuso-Konongo Road in the Ashanti region. This was after he went to the region to train party organizers and volunteers ahead of the 2020 elections and was heading to Koforidua in the eastern region. The national organizer, who has been training party organizers and mobilizers ahead of the elections, was spotted in the western north yesterday in the company of Justin Kujia Frimpong, the YEA CEO, Nanatema Boache, Deputy Coordinator for the Free SHS, and Mfantseman, CEO of the Computerized School Selection and Placement System. Also in the company of Mami Efia Akoto, the Deputy CEO of Maslog. There's reports available to Joy News indicates that a tricycle crossed to one of the vehicles in their convoy at Ejuso, and the vehicle ran into the one carrying the national organizer. And his vehicle then veered off the road and in the process got damaged, but together with his driver, they escaped a near-fatal accident, but with minor injuries, we're told. Now, an NDC campaign team touring the Ashanti region has also been attacked by suspected armed robbers at Ejretia in the Efija Kwabret districts of the Ashanti region. The entourage is part of former GMPC Chief Executive Alex Mould's team touring the Ashanti region. 2 of the 5 people in the salon car were assaulted, allegedly by the robbers, after one of the assailants convinced his colleagues not to shoot. Nanaya Ojima has more in the following report.
3 of the victims, after sensing danger, managed to flee. In an attempt to flee the scene, the remaining 2 drove into a muddy ditch. Deputy NDC Secretary Sawadogo Mahmood and his women's organizer sustained injuries following severe beatings by the armed men. Sawadogo Mahmood shared his ordeal.
So I got stuck in the ditch. Then they came up to us, demanded that we give them our money and whatever valuables we had in our possession. Then 2 of them went up to our woman organizer, ransacked her bag, everything. And then one of them told us to enter the car and go. The other said no, they should just shoot us. The one who had told us to get into our car then came and said that he should allow us go. The other said once the car is in a ditch, we couldn't move it, so we should rather walk. So we were walking and he was following us with the gun at every point, threatening to shoot us. But I think the other person prevailed on him. Then they left us. So it was when we got to down where the trotro was parked that we realized some were lying. There were some people lying on the floor. Then there was a gunshot on the driver of the trotro. I have sustained a cut. I had to take some stitches yesterday night.
Former GNPC boss Alex Mould, who was leading the campaign, had been dropped off at the time of the incident. He shared his reaction with Love News.
There's no street lighting in an area that we had gotten our MPs to and our district to put street lights in the whole of Ejretia, whole of Himai. All of that has now been destroyed by this contractor who has been recently given a contract. And this is the area the thugs, the robbers operate. And they have been doing this over the years. Somebody has been killed in that area. Everybody in the area is living in fear. I come there once in a while, but people live in that community. They must be sleeping by 6 o'clock for fear of what is going on in this area.
This particular road links Ankasi to Ejretia and other communities, and this spot is exactly where the incident happened. Due to the poor nature of the road, armed robbers and others take advantage of that and rob people of their belongings. This is not the first time such an incident is occurring on this road, which has been awarded on contract and is being fixed. Here are some of the people who ply the road.
The situation here is horrible and it's frightening. Whenever you are coming to work, you are frightened. And then when you get to work and then you are coming back home, you are frightened. Even in their house with the thought of still working at Ankasi is frightening.
Ankasi says bomia, me sa bahanu mana hame. 7 bar me ma. Omu pia free run man o ma be jina kwanim. Pia free run man o ma say nra ye nwa ba kwama boni to den. Etu aka no. One free baby oda na ni enyan.
Police say they are investigating the matter. For Joy News, Nanaya Ojima. reporting.
Now, Chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Madam Jean Mensah, has so far received 12 nomination forms from presidential candidates seeking to contest this year's elections. Out of the 12, 3 are independent candidates: Alfred Kwame Walker, Marek Kofi Ghani, and Kofi Kranting, whilst the others are registered political parties, including the governing NPP and the opposition NDC. On Thursday, flag bearer of the National Democratic Party, Nana Konadu-Agyeman-Rawlings, submitted her nomination forms with the hope of winning the upcoming polls. She spoke to Joy News shortly after filing her nomination and blamed her poor performance during the 2016 elections on former EC boss Charlotte Osei. She alleges the then EC boss deliberately frustrated her efforts in filing her nomination at the time. This, she says, affected the party's campaign strategy in winning the 2016 polls.
Were you here last 4 years? If you were, then you know the work that the Electoral Commission did in trying to stop some of the parties from even entering this place. So if you were here, then I don't think you'd have argued that question. Because we have 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 14 days to do everything and start campaigns. So that should tell you why it happened that way.
So Ghanaians are asking, what should they expect from an NDP government should you win these elections?
We win the election, we're going to change certain things, especially in the educational system. Because we have a lot of people who are entering the university today. They're going to the university because that's the only place to go to. From SSS, SHS, they enter the university. But if we could structure the educational system so that we have the skills training, skills development, apprentissage, we will have many more people having a hands-on approach.
Just go ahead. Yeah.
Having a hands-on approach to jobs that can be done in the weekend.
Well, so Hassan Ayariga of the All People's Congress, who also submitted his nomination forms Thursday, predicted major challenges during the polls. He argues that the use of the new register could trigger some anomalies on the day of elections, and thus urged the chairperson to resolve any challenges that could mar the beauty of the polls. He made these remarks while submitting his nominations. Also, Madam Ekow, founder and leader of the Ghana Freedom Party, also filed her nomination on Thursday and called for support for the Electoral Commission chair. So we quickly take you now through the names of those who've filed so far. We've got 12 filings as at the close of day yesterday. So we now know that the NPP's Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo has filed. The NDC's John Mahama has also filed. Christian Kwabena Andrews, also known as Sofo Chere Abosum of the flag bearer of the Ghana Union Movement, and Bridget Jogbenuku representing the PPP, Ekow, Ghana Freedom Party flag bearer, Nana Konadu-Agyeman-Rawlings representing the NDP, Hassan Ayariga of the All People's Congress, Ivor Kwabena Green Streets, the flag bearer of the Convention People's Party, Henry Latte, flag bearer of the Great Consolidated Popular Party. The independent candidates are Alfred Kwame Walker, Kofi Kranting, Marek Kofi Ghani, and these are the names of the persons who have filed so far, representing either going as independent candidate or representing political parties. Now, the National Democratic Congress, the NDC, says the introduction of the free primary healthcare policy will be the largest social protection program under the Fourth Republic if it wins the 2020 elections. Speaking at the NDC's weekly press briefings, Dr. Edward Omani-Boama, former communications minister, said under the free primary health care policy, Ghanaians will not require the national health insurance to access health care. My colleague Quansah has more in the following report.
A few months ago, the opposition National Democratic Congress launched its 2020 manifesto in the lead up to this year's general election. Among one of the key promises the NDC made is that it's going to make primary health care free. Today, at a press conference addressed by former Communications Minister Dr. Mfantseman, the NDC has been explaining what exactly this primary health care will entail and what exactly will go into it, the costing among other things. For instance, Dr. Mfantseman has explained that primary health care will mean that health care at the very basic level, from polyclinics to the district hospitals, will be free.
The primary theoretically ends at the district level. What this means is that if you are conceptualizing a free primary health care, you should be looking at the district hospital all the way to the CHIPS compound. And that is why we say if you went to the district hospital, care will be free. If you went to the polyclinics, care will be free. If you went to the health center, care will be free. If you went to the CHIPS compounds, care will be free.
The NDC has also been giving the cost of the free healthcare policy. It's saying that it will cost them an annual 1.4 billion Ghana cedi, and then it will also be funded through the consolidated fund through Ghana's oil revenue.
In Ghana cedis, it is 1.4 billion, which takes 31 million population. It means that for 1 year, what do you need? Between 2017 and 2020, revenue from crude oil alone, saved for COVID, according to the budget statements, would have been over 20 billion Ghana cedis. When the people of Ghana say that we do not see what the oil money is being used for, we must be answering with some of these concrete.
One other thorny issue that came up during this press conference is that what exactly will this free healthcare policy mean for the national health insurance policy? The NDC says, as against some of the things that other people have been saying, that this will collapse the health insurance. It said that this will rather strengthen the national health insurance program.
The free primary healthcare plan will make the NHIS better because it will pay for primary care, preventive and promotive health. Let me clarify once again that a Ghanaian will not need a national health insurance card to benefit from free primary health care.
And that's it for the AM News. We're getting into the newspapers. We will look at myjoyonline.com. My colleagues Joseph Akablé and Joseph Opoku Gakpo will join me. We also talk a lot more about the Member of Parliament who has been shot and killed. You're watching the AM Show. Do stay with us. Welcome to the review segment here on our show, the AM Show. Joseph Akablé is right here on a Friday, which has suddenly become a bit slow because of the very sad news that came overnight. Joseph?
Very worrying. When I saw the story, when I woke up, it's very disturbing. It's one of those news items that we all pray that we don't wake up to. And it's unfortunate.
Absolutely.
The manner it's happened. I listened to Richard Koyunako sent us a sound of some persons who were traveling with the MP. One of them said he had to lie down and pretend to be dead. And he heard the MP shouting that he wants water to drink. And he was wondering what that was about because he didn't know that he had been shot. He didn't realize. And the other guy also said that when they approached him, they asked him, who are you? He said, I'm called Hayford. They said, okay, so you're part of those who are making us struggle. Then shot him twice. So, this news just in. I mean, for those who are just hearing the news, the MP from Mfantseman has been shot dead. That's the news sent.
Yeah, we're 59 days to the 2020 polls. Certainly not the kind of news that we were hoping to hear today. We won't find the story in any of the newspapers because this story broke very late, almost this morning, really.
So it actually happened around 1 a.m.
Yes, absolutely. So let's run through what we have in the newspapers. Joseph Opoku Gakpo will join us because this was a sitting member of Parliament, joined the 7th Parliament. He was candidate for the NPP in the upcoming elections as well. So, you know, trying to hold on to his seat in Parliament. But he doesn't even now get the opportunity to even be on the ballot. Let's go through the papers now. I've got the Daily Graphic newspaper front page. Vigilantism law will bite. President warns 12 file for presidential polls. And this is it, the biggest story for us yesterday. I mean, the whole country came to a standstill. Accra, the Ashanti region, Kumasi, and then I guess our friends in Cape Coast were also holding it up. And in the end, it was Presec Legon that came through. So that story is here, 2020 NSMQ, Presec are champs. And it comes with the picture of the quiz mistress, Dr. Elsie Effa Kaufman, who is on our show today, by the way, alongside the boys who did it for Presec. And then one district, one factory creates 140,000 jobs, according to the Trades Minister. There you have it. That's how it looks like on the front page of the paper. Alan Chiramantin coming along with that headline right there. Let's look at the center spread of the paper now. Agribusiness Confab exhibition underway in Tamale. And DPC identifies 79 prioritized areas for fund allocation. Story says that the National Development Planning Commission has presented 79 areas it considers priority for the country's accelerated development. The Commission therefore wants ministries, departments, and agencies to consider those priority areas as guide when they are preparing their next budgets. The 79 were selected from 400 outlined after a research based on the costs and benefits of the solutions and the Commission's own assessment by a 7-member eminent panel of economists at a 2-day consultation session. Okay, so details there. And then Republic of Korea present vehicles to foreign ministry, also another story in the center spread of the paper. On the back page, the Coastal Development Authority has taken delivery of 622 Suzuki outboard motors for sale to fishermen in the Greater Accra, Central, Western and Volta regions at subsidized prices. Chopoli residents construct illegal road humps on Tema Aflao Highway. Also another story on the back page of the paper. Akable?
Let me start from the front page of the Daily Guide. It says Agric Ministry certified powdered lithovit. That's coming from a witness in the trial of Dr. Stephen Opuni. Colorblind Nana warns vigilantes, and Konedu others commend EC, and Amase withdraws from MP race. And work begins on
going independence.
Yes, that's the story according to the Daily Guide this morning. Work begins on Upper East Waste Plant, also on the front page of the Daily Guide. The back page says Pathe soup was planned for 213 days, and Ronaldo home begged 180,000 shirts among other items stolen. Still on the back page, all set for some peace work programs that will be taking place in various parts of the country. You can find details on the back page of the Daily Guide. The Guardian Times this morning says chiefs are relevant for national development. President Akufo-Addo says an NDC reiterates promise to implement free primary health care plan. And after day 4, 12 presidential candidates file nomination forms for December 2020 polls. And President cuts sword for Upper East Solid Waste Plant, also on the front page. The back page has Ghana Exim Bank launches 12 million cedi beekeeping project, and VIP cuts sword for 108-kilometer road in Jomoro municipality. The Vice President has been touring that part of the country. The page 3 crime story has this headline here. It says woman grabbed over stolen vehicle, and Takwa court jails 2 armed robbers 30 years also over there. And prosecution witness in Opuni's trial completes a testimony. That story, details of that story on page 3. Let me quickly do the Business and Financial Times. That'll be the last one for me this morning. It says Akufo-Addo cuts sword for Upper East Solid Waste Plant. So that story seems to be on the front pages of all the papers. NPRA unhappy with exemption of security services from 3-tier pension scheme. And cedi holds dollar and pound, performs better than pre-pandemic period. And so there is a graph that shows the cedi declining and appreciating and declining a bit, and all of a sudden appreciating again between August to September. If you want details of those analysis, okay, you can see the graph in your shorts there. If you want those details of those analysis, you can find it in the Business and Financial Times. The back page has the story about food safety is critical to COVID-19 response. And Vice cuts sword for LPG bottling refilling plants at Axim. That is it for the Business and Financial Times, Mamavi.
All right, let's do the Finder front page. Upper East Chiefs predicts victory for Ekow. Dr. Baumia cuts sword for LPG bottling plants. On one district, one factory, 57,343 direct jobs on offer, 18,811 direct jobs created, 38,532 more in the offing, 120,520 indirect jobs created, more to be created, and that figure has been put at 247,383, all being revealed by the Minister, Alan Chamating. You can read a lot more in the paper. AMA boss waits into the Okada debate. MPP has kept faith with Ghanaians, according to its General Secretary. Prim Park condemns arrest detention of its Vice President, David Tamaklo. That story on page 5. It says the Private Newspaper and Online Publishers Association has condemned the arrest and detention of its Vice President, Mr. David Sichofer Tamaklo, who is also the managing editor of the WhatsApp News, a digital newspaper by the Ghana Police Service. He was arrested in Accra in the late afternoon of Wednesday, October 7. Prim Park is of the view that the arrest and detention of its vice president infringed his constitutional rights as a journalist who, by his profession, has the mandate and the duty to bring the concerns of all segments of the population to the attention of the powers that be for redress. So a lot more on this story. Not sure of the backstory. Akable, are you aware of this incident, this arrest of this vice president of Primpag? I guess there's a lot more that we have to...
He works with an online platform.
Yes,
I saw
the WhatsApp News.
Yes, I read a bit of the story, and there was actually a statement that came out from the Ghana Journalist Association yesterday. So I can bring you that statement.
Whilst you do that, let's say good morning to Joseph Opoku Gakpo, our parliamentary correspondent. Joseph, good morning.
Good morning, and how are you doing?
Well, very well, thank you. But, you know, it's just that everything's been just gone upside down, I guess, for us. All the excitement that we were coming on the show with today was just met with that news of the killing of the sitting member of parliament for Mfantseman constituency. That's a man that you've seen in parliament many times, Joseph.
So he actually, if you ask your producer, Derek Ekosam will tell you that Hayford had always wanted to be on your show. So I think, if my memory serves me right from the very first State of the Nation address that the president delivered back in 2017, around that time, he managed to, not he managed, but there was a conversation in Parliament when we covered that, that he featured on. So he actually got on the AM show just around. It's either the very first budget or the very first State of the Nation address. And that's when he became a friend of Ekosam. So repeatedly, he had made the point that he would want to get to the show, he had wanted to get on your show, and that you guys should repeatedly invite him on AM show. So, you know, even Ekosam will attest to it that he's someone who's always tried to step out there, get work done for the MPP, speak publicly in support of the MPP. My last encounter with him was on the 14th of August, the night of the 14th of August. Now, what happened was that you recall the controversial Ejapa deal that was approved by Parliament the day that Parliament went on break. That the Parliament adjourned sitting very late into the night, around 11 p.m., because the conversation on Ejapa Act. And one of the things that we realized in the course of the day, as we reviewed various documents on Ejapa, was that George Mekuduka, the Takwa MP and Vice Chairman of the Mines and Energy Committee, was actually the Chairman of the Mineral and Clean Fund. So sometime around 11 p.m., I called Duka that I wanted to get more in the understanding of what was happening. And Duka said he was in his office. Duka was in Duka's office in the Job 600 building. So I proceeded into the Job 600 building that night around 11 p.m. And funny enough, when I went into Duka's office, Ekow Hayford was actually seated in Duka's office, and the two of them were having a conversation. I think they are very good friends. So even around that time, they were just sitting down having a conversation. And then I went into a conversation with Duka, which lasted for a while, recorded an interview. And Ekow Hayford was actually in the office. So then there was a conversation around off campaign, and you guys should feature me more in interviews and all. So then we have that kind of thing. After I was done with my interview with Duka, before then, I eventually left Duka's office around 11:30 p.m. That was actually the last encounter that I had with him personally in Duka's office. It's very sad that this morning the news is coming in that everything short. And funny enough, the story indicates that he was returning from a campaign. He had gone campaigning, and he was on his way back to his house around 1 a.m. The story. Everyone has been campaigning very late into the evening these days.
Absolutely.
And it's not just the presidential candidates, but the parliamentary candidates as well.
Yeah.
I recall that late last night on the Battleground show, we were trying to get one of the MPs, Akable. We were trying to get Atsoforsen, the Democracy MP, for an interview. And as Akable would have said, even around 8 p.m., 9 p.m., the indication from Mr. Forsen was that he was addressing a rally. So that's happening a lot.
Yeah, Joseph Apukago, just hold it there for us. We've got Yawanti. He was actually traveling in one of the vehicles with the MP, and he had a few things. So Yawanti is joining us. We're going to speak to you with him, and then we'll do the translation. AM show Joy News. MP na wefim sesiano. MP for Mfantseman ya tse na woni ne na ewo akwantu mu betimi aka na esi akre nya hu ye ne nya ote
edi kan bedamase Joy FM edemoti efo nyina nyankopon shiram the change na say it to Accra by around by 7:30, 7:45. Accra. Then the about Boise. It's the Yaba, the branch of Mankasim road be at the His Excellency and not Dankwafado. The road no more esu or my bimu. As a kind of Muslim. The Yaba, baby, the Domrase won't fancy. Hello.
Bacho yetio.
Ahoy baby the domrance. Ahoy over phone was sunny. And the aso ma be ye China phobia omo me ye kwan ma be bo we bi ohoroma omo ohoroma omo eye kwan no. Si e ba ye ni ma be se ya ba the ba be se 100 meters away to the incidents no. And I driver no who say cars na pack. The happen or ye fast then attend to the Mankasim. As a Obia Eko, ye ba was no. To whom he says, I was 10 years or suddenly Mankasim back. To Hona, ye say a true Akasa, or ye can't pay more than 3-4 times. And I don't catch am robbers. See the Oka Munino, Ubia, sir, you Ubia Siki, to then your bonfire say about the Moya now. When you face incidents, because
and tina mokani di MP ne ka na chi ana na ka cars na etu kwan ne ho
Ye car no ni MP car na chi.
Okay.
Yeah, say ye nam road no so aye ko. Yeah, traffic from Obuasi to Accra to Obuasi.
Okay.
You see, yeah, as a copy at the end of so.
Aha.
And see not like cars not pack. Into who said traffic no, a block is on. Who said be across it. To one way fast and not 10 years.
Okay.
Because Baba no your Obuasi driver into him road no so.
But enti basa kwan we of our police phone ni so anase mo mu bia try so be free police at the time ana
police barrier e wo kwan no so police barrier o traman kasim e ba wani kakra police barrier o so but all light any ho no ntino as a hono yesum the police also my police barrier ntino udru ho ma wo like o driver and as what utu kwan anado a o mo say o light no so
okay. You offer but moment do baby a police barrier ne wono baby a incident we see no na upa barrier ne ho ana say undu ho
like what barrier no kra say what barrier no kra say over 500 meters away kra.
Okay.
And yeah. That means the barrier no kra and e beto say incidents na the
SC. Okay, you me pacha fire because of time, you know, yebe jano ewa ha yebe jawa ha yebe si ha. Yawinti was traveling in a vehicle, not part of the MP's convoy, by the way, but he said the driver of his vehicle sensed that something unusual was happening, and he told them there was a robbery, perhaps, so they had to turn and go back. But they heard gunshot. He recalls about 3 shots, he says. So Yawinti there, an eyewitness, speaking to us about this incident. Guys, we were talking about Joseph Opoku Gakpo. We were talking about the member and what he does in Parliament. So he was on the Judiciary Committee and the Defence and Interior Committee. But I was just watching a playback of his appearance on Bidrim because our colleagues on Adum TV traveled to Saltpond 2 weeks ago, just 2 weeks ago, on a Friday just like this. And he, as a sitting member of Parliament, joined the conversation, a very extensive conversation. And it's just absolutely sad that we're waking up to the news this morning that he's been shot and killed. There's been other incidents of either accident or robbery. There was also Alex Mould's team involved in robbery in the Ashanti region.
A similarity. So you hear the eyewitness say that he was on the road and suspected there was a robbery. The same thing with the Alex Mould incident. The campaign guys actually drove into the robbery. So there was a robbery ongoing on the road. They were attacking vehicles. Then they drove into it. And so they were also attacked. They stole the items. They beat some of them up. And they actually wanted to shoot them. And one of them had to plead. And they were saying that, I mean, why should we leave them alive? We should shoot them. And they had to back and forth among the robbers before they agreed and left them over there. So I mean, it's unfortunate, and it raises issues about, I mean, the state of security among others.
Exactly. Yeah. And I was just going to remind you guys, remember the parade or that exhibition where the police mentioned that their members, the Greater Accra Commander, challenged the members to reduce their sexual rounds. That was a whole show to tell us their readiness for the December polls. And I think that this is really the real test in terms of alleged robbery incident and killings like we've seen happen in the Hayford case.
If they are to step up and do the things that we all want them to do, sometimes we are a bit too hard on them. And so, they are even sometimes when I'm driving in town in the evening around 10 p.m., they stop you, they ask you to open your boot, they check their cars. Mostly people tend to complain that there's a lot of traffic, but those checkpoints, if those things are done, it prevents some of these individuals, because obviously these are people who would be carrying guns, who would have gone through a certain checkpoint or would have used a certain checkpoint at some point, even after they are done with what they went out to do. And it's very unfortunate. And as it happened, I was just thinking about JB Dankwaidu as well. That incident was also another one that left all of us in shock. And we have this one also happening. Killed in this fashion. It's very unfortunate. So
December 24th, he would have turned 50, actually. So his 50th birthday was just around the corner. What does this mean, Joseph Opoku Gakpo? Because we know that there are rules that come with the game, even as we talk about the death of a certain parliament. What happens with his seat?
So if this had happened about 4 months ago, then we would have had a by-election, because the laws indicate that when an MP is lost 6 months before an election, then there will be a by-election to elect a new member of parliament. But if it's happening anywhere less than 6 months before the next election, then the seat is left vacant until we get to the election. So essentially, that's what it means, that the seat will be vacant until we go into the polls on December 7th, without the need for a by-election. The more interesting thing will be, so what happens in his constituency? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the EC's filing processes actually come to a close today, as far as various contestants are concerned. Hayford is one of the people who actually went unopposed in the Mfantseman constituency on the NPP ticket. So then this actually leaves room for the NPP to probably organize a whole new parliamentary primary for whoever to emerge winner. And just maybe the Electoral Commission would have to give an extension for the NPP to then file a new candidate in the Mfantseman constituency. That's likely to be how.
Yeah, that's an angle that we would definitely have to explore. Just to finish off the story with the Primpak's statement and the arrest of its vice president, David Tamaklo. Just some background. So Mr. Tamaklo was arrested for publishing a news item in his WhatsApp News, a digital publication capturing the concerns raised by some Evers and Northerners residents in the new Edubiase constituency in the Ashanti region. He was arrested based on a bench warrant issued by the new Edubiase District Court because the police claimed he failed to honor an invitation extended to him to assist the police in their investigations into the complaints. Primpak questioned why a journalist should be arrested for being the voice of the voiceless, in line with his constitutional mandate as a member of the Fourth Estate of the Ram. So a bit of background to the arrest of David Tamaklo. You can continue to read a lot more. You said that there was a statement that was issued by the Ghana Journalists Association related to this matter, Joseph.
Yes, and so they are saying that to the extent that Mr. Tamaklo's arrest relates to his journalistic work, the GJA believes that the police action is unconstitutional and undermines the values of our democracy. It says, we urge everybody concerned about Mr. Tamaklo's work to report him to the NMC. And it goes on to say that as we prepare for our 8th democratic elections, the last thing our nation wants is wrongful application of police authority that derails Ghana's democratic ascendancy. So the GJA are making the point that if he has written something or published a story and you're unhappy about, take him to the NMC and don't have him arrested by national security operatives like we saw happen to the modern Ghana journalist some time back, if you recall. They attempted to charge them with hacking and some other offenses, but eventually the state had to drop the matter against them for obvious reasons.
All right, we will bring you a playback of some constituents in the Mfantseman constituency. And we know the news now that the sitting member of parliament, Ekow Hayford, has been shot and killed, we're told, by some armed robbers. We'll leave you with this, and then we will come back with sport after. Joseph Opoku-Gapo, thank you so much for your time. And to you, Akable, as well. Stay with us.
Hello, good morning, and welcome to AM Sports with me, Ekow. I hope you had an amazing evening and having an even better morning. And we start off with the Ghana Premier League, which is inching ever closer to its beginning. And remember, the set date is 13th November. And yesterday, the Ghana Football Association did release the fixtures for the upcoming season. And in match day 1, we have Hearts facing Aduana and Asante Kotoko facing 11 Wonders. We do have more of the fixtures in this report.
House of Oak has been handed a trip to Doma Ahinkro to face Aduana Stars in their opening match, whereas rivals Asante Kotoko will host Tachima 11 Wonders in Accra. Midiama will play Great Olympics at the Akun Park, whilst Dreams FC, who have augmented their squad with 4 signings, including former House of Oak player Joseph Esso, will be on the road to face Interallies. The country's Super Clash will take place on March day 14 when Asante Kotoko play at home to House of Oak. West African Football Academy Wafa will host King Faisal at the Soccer Capo Stadium in their opening fixture, whilst Ashanti Gold will battle Kerala United in Obuasi. Brekum Chelsea will make a trip to Accra to face Legon Cities. Ebisuan Dwarfs will host Neighbours Elmina Sharks at the Cape Coast Sports Stadium. Dan Soman-based Liberty Professionals will battle Bechim United at the Karandorf Park. The Ghana Premier League is expected to last 34 weeks, commencing on Friday, November 13, after the 2019-2020 football season was disrupted by the coronavirus pandemic in mid-March. The season is expected to conclude on July 18, 2021.
Football certainly is coming ever closer, and the kickoff date would be the weekend of November 13th and 16th as the Ghana Premier League certainly returns to our screens. But still on the matter of the local league, Communications Director of Ghana Premier League side Midiama Soccer Club, Patrick Akoto, has told Joy Sports the Mauve and Yellow will sell their star midfielder Justice Blay on their own terms. Reports earlier this week suggested the 2-times FA Cup champions will report Asante Kotoko to the Ghana FA to aid in the player to go AWOL after failing to reach an agreement with the Taka-based club. We have more for you in this report.
Reports emerged earlier this week that Midiama's stuntman Justice Blay has gone AWOL. The 28-year-old who spent a season with the Porcupine Warriors is allegedly being tapped by the record Premier League champions to influence his decision to move from the Takwa-based club. The Mauve and Yellows have threatened to report Kotoko to the Ghana Football Association. Communications Director of the club, Patrick Akoto, speaking to Joy Sports, revealed Blay will leave the club on their terms.
There are internal mechanisms and sanctions that will apply. Any player that goes to war understands such repercussions. And so we will deal with these internal matters. But it is important, and I need to reiterate this point, that the era where players were whisked into the back of cars, where players were induced to ensure that they become recalcitrant to their contract and all that, those eras are past. We are in a new dawn, we are in a new era, we are in a professional era. And it's important that everybody respects that. Indeed, we shipped him out on loan to Kotoko for a year. It has ended. He had a fabulous campaign in Kumasi. But it does not mean that he's a player of Kotoko or any other club. He is the bona fide property of the Mauve and Yellows, and we will determine his future and his next line as far as his club career is concerned. We will call the shots, and that is it.
Akoto also added that it is not only Asante Kotoko who are interested in the services of Justice Blay, and that numerous clubs have inquired about his availability.
Well, not in particular reference to only Kotoko. There are other competing clubs in pursuit of Justice Blay. The club has not taken a decision yet as to the next line of casting, but I, of course, can confirm to you that Kotoko, just like other clubs, have made inquiries, and we are still talking. We've not been able to reach an agreement on the figures involved, and this is where we are, and that is why we are extremely scandalized and petrified that we will find ourselves in a situation where we have to be talking about an issue about tapping up at this age or this era of our football. It's extremely unfortunate. But like I said, discussions are still ongoing between the top echelon of some of the clubs that are interested in our starman, and we will hope to find an amicable truth to this whole telemundo which has dominated the major increase in the Ghanaian media.
Midiama is demanding $50,000 before they will release Justice Blay to any club.
Okay, well, thanks for staying with us here on the AM show. Let's talk about mental health care. Tomorrow is Mental Health Day, and we want to bring the conversation home, really. We'll talk about the theme in terms of the concentration for this year's World Mental, the Mental Day, but there's something that's also very close to us because of all the issues surrounding us that has been brought about because of the COVID-19. So people have lost their jobs. There are those who have had COVID and haven't quite recovered because there are issues after that as well. There are those who still have fears, who still are not comfortable stepping out and being themselves. So many things around this period particularly. So if you feel down, and you want somebody to talk to, this is the show for you. We will open the phone lines pretty early in the conversation so you can join us. But let me introduce to you my guest. Seth Mausi Asafo is a clinical psychologist. He lectures at the University of Ghana Medical School. Good morning and thank you always for your time.
Thank you.
Dorcas Mensah's founder, Others Like Me GH, and she's also here. Thank you, Dorcas. When you say others like me, what do you mean?
The truth is that I have been living with bipolar depression, yes, for a long time, and I know a lot of people in Ghana suffer that condition. So about 3 years ago, I was assaulted, and because of that, I triggered this condition like in a way that I had never seen before. So when I was hospitalized and later sent home, I started feeling so lonely, and I needed people to talk to, like not just anybody, but people who understand what I was going through. And I just couldn't find. I was looking everywhere, going on the internet, searching and searching. So I just thought, why don't I just look for other people who are just like me? So that's how Others Like Me came about. So I first wrote my own story on my Joy Online, and then people started writing to me that they are also going through a whole lot of things, so they also want to share their stories. I started sharing their stories, and then we came up as a support group. So that's what we've been doing.
So how many others do you have now
in my support group?
Yes.
Oh, like we are more than 60. Yeah, we are more than 60.
Let me just ask you, Mr. Asafo, how important are these support groups, Others Like Me, for instance, where Dorcas is living it, so she knows all about it and people can easily reach out?
I mean, I can agree with her very much with the things that we see in our practice. And one of the most significant things is how people who suffer varying degrees of psychological or mental challenges isolate because, truthfully, others don't understand. They don't know what it feels like. Typically, with clients that I work with who are depressive, people around them feel like they're just lazy. And they say, why don't you just get out of it, get out of bed. It's not that simple. Or that someone who has a drug problem or substance abuse problem, and they say, just stop. So typically, in mental health conditions, people tend to trivialize what the thing is to the person who's suffering. And I say, it's important to have people who are like you or who at least understand you, because it offers you this support or this feeling of being belonging, so I think this is an amazing cause.
I spoke to a young lady and I still would have another conversation with her because I thought it was very important. She sat here on the show. It was Suicide Day, and she shared with us how she was abused, how she attempted killing herself. She shared the various ways that she tried doing that and how she was helped. But she also talked about going to her HR and asking for days off after that. And she only got the days off, but the resource persons on the show said that was a point where the HR could have gotten her help. We will go to that angle of it because this is all linked. But I want to maybe go back a bit to the beginning on what mental health is about, because usually when we talk mental health, everybody's thinking psychiatric hospital. Everybody's thinking hands tied and things like that. People. Exactly, exactly. So explain where we are with this today.
Okay, let me make it very simple. See, mental health is something we all have. So you have mental health, she has mental health, I have mental health. Now, mental health is on a spectrum. You can have a day where your mental health is at 100 and a day where your mental health is reduced, just like physical health. There are times where you wake up, you feel full of energy and motivated and everything, and that's good physical health. There are days where you're able to function, but there are some pains or some fatigue that you're feeling. It's the same with mental health. And it's different from mental illness. So everybody has mental health, but not everybody has mental illness.
Okay.
So the illness has to do with defects with either the way you think or the way you feel or the way you behave. So in mental health, we're talking about thinking, feeling, and behavior. And in most cases, how people behave is what those on the outside can see. But what they're feeling and thinking, sometimes you can't infer. You cannot see it. And that's one of the reasons why people tend to trivialize mental health issues. They say, oh, it's not a big deal. You'll be fine, because you don't know what it is deep within you. So I think that's the distinction that we need to know. However, no matter how difficult this is, with the necessary support, especially with early detection or getting help very quickly, we can remedy it and you can function and make a gainful contribution to your society.
Nice. Doctors, particularly around this period of COVID, do you find some of the people who reach out to you talk about what they're going through in terms of their mental health? So that if I lost a job or if I feel they're going to cut down and I may be part of those who end up going home, I feel insecure, unstable. What are some of the things that people are telling you around this time?
It's a lot of people are going through a lot of things. And most of these people, I think some of them are having anxiety disorders, because when they talk to you, the things they tell you, like, Charlie, my heart is beating. I feel like I'm going to get a heart attack, and I don't know where the next meal is coming from. And all sorts of things, and they just don't know what to do with themselves. Okay, so the person is there and feeling so many things, and he doesn't know who to talk to. So, and it's not all the time that I will be available to talk to the person. So the person comes, tells you all these things, you try to console. And you know, the funny aspect is that when you tell somebody you need to see a doctor, they're like, oh, nah. This is not doctor matter. You mean I should go and pay 100 cedis to talk to somebody? No. So people are not even willing to seek the right help for. They don't think it's something that the doctor must see them for. Meanwhile, they are going through all sorts of emotions and telling you all about it.
What's, when you say you have bipolar, for instance, can you explain what that means? How did you know that there was anything like that in the first place?
So for a long time, I thought I just had depression. And that's one thing about bipolar. It's very difficult to detect. Most people get diagnosed with depression before they get diagnosed with bipolar. So it's like bipolar is two poles. So you are either depressed or you have mania or hypomania. And so when you are depressed, you are in the low moods, you are in bed, you don't want to do anything. Even the things that I love to do, I just stopped doing them. I really love sewing, but it got to a time I don't even want to see the sewing machine or even see a scissors, or let alone get close to it to use it. I don't want to write. All the things I love doing, I lost interest in them. All I want to do is to lie in bed. And that can go on for months. You just be there and people think, oh, she's lazy, leave her alone. She doesn't want to do anything.
Is there anything in particular that triggers that?
I don't know, but sometimes I'll just wake up, maybe the weather is cloudy, and then I just woke up and saw that and I just start crying. Nobody did anything or said anything. I haven't seen anybody. I just woke up and I started crying. That's just it. And then you get to the mania aspect. That one too, like it's too much of everything. When you're happy, you are too happy. When you have energy, too much energy. When you're working, oh, you can do so many amazing things. For us creatives, like when I'm writing, that's where I can write very well, do all the things that maybe other people who are not in that state cannot do. I will do it. But it's also dangerous because like there's no stopping. Like I'm just going.
There's no limited. You're just
doing. I'm just, and I can endanger myself or someone else. So that's why you need people around you, so that like when you're going out of line, they can just tell you.
Okay. So do you have such people around you?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do. And me, I think when I'm becoming depressed or even when I'm manic, I see it. Okay. I tell people, hey, are you sure the way I'm behaving is normal? Like, sometimes even when I'm laughing and it's too much, I can just see that, no, this is out of line. And I can ask people, or people will tell me, Charlie, I think you should check yourself.
Yeah. But Mr. Asafo, I see that this is a person who has accepted that this is it a condition? Can I say that I have this condition? And I am not shy. I speak about it to the extent that I can ask someone if I'm going out of line or not. Okay. So, how many people are there like that?
I mean, we are always looking for clients who can come to an acceptance of their condition. We call it technically as insight. So a client has good insight to their condition. Like she says, I can tell when I'm depressed, I can tell when I'm manic. What that means is she knows to get help when she's getting into that phase. Now we have some clients who are very poor insight, so they don't even know, or they haven't even accepted their diagnosis. As a result of that, when they are suffering, they basically won't seek help to remedy it or to cut it at a place where it's not excessive. So, you know, like she's explaining, now most of the times for our clients who have bipolar, they only report to the hospital, or people will bring them to the hospital when they are depressed. Because they love being, for lack of a better word, they enjoy the manic phase. When you're full of energy and you're doing so many wonderful, amazing things, you actually would like it. Now, some people may show it in ways that make them aggressive or a bit promiscuous. And so if people around you, if people who are around you care and they pay particular attention, they might notice that your mood is not as usual as you. So, I mean, if you take me, I'm a very bubbly person. You might confuse mania because I'm that outgoing and all of that. However, you still notice that it's excessive of who I really am. And that's where the important thing is. Once someone accepts their condition, they're ready to follow through on treatment. And that helps us because they become compliant. There are people who will come, you give them their treatment and they either won't come for therapy, or if you give them their medications, they won't take it because they'll complain about varying degrees of side effects and all of that, which is something that people who have accepted their conditions will go back and discuss with their primary healthcare provider that this is what I'm facing, and it helps to give a better outcome for your treatment.
So, you know, if this phase, I guess for March, we probably didn't even feel the effect of the COVID until maybe April, May, when businesses were cutting down. So I am okay, or like I've been okay, and then I suddenly switch. You know, it's very easy for me to think that, oh, because I lost my job, and that if I find another job, I will be all right. Is that how it works?
Not entirely. See, the truth about, so mental health professionals we have a theory, which is that everybody can suffer a psychological challenge or mental illness. All you need is a necessary trigger, which is strong enough. Now, I'm sure we've all noticed somebody suddenly becoming not their usual way after they lost their partner or their job, or they had some chronic illness, or they were attacked by thieves. Now, that was a stressful event. Now, what stressful events do is that they rob us of our sense of security. And the human mind, we say, is very primitive. See, the human mind reacts to things like there is a danger, a wild animal, a dog, something. So we are facing the danger. So every time there's a stressor, the human mind faces it as a danger because that's how the mind interprets it. If you're faced with some real danger, what happens is, because you can see the danger and it's tangible, you can escape it, overcome the danger in the shortest possible time and put your mind and body out of survival mode. However, in these modern times where majority of our stresses are mental, or they're things that basically we're thinking, what happens is you stay in the state of danger perpetually. And so she mentioned something interesting about people say, my heart is beating. The reality is your heart is beating because it's an adaptive feature. Your heart is beating to pump blood into your major muscles, to allow you to stand and fight or to run away. That's the reality of why your heart is beating. Now, in the same time, it will hold other functions it considers unnecessary. To say, you people relax. I mean, think of it this way. When there are wars, they say women and children stay back, men stay forward. Now, the body also prioritizes things like that. So he says, at this point, we have to survive. If we die, digestion is irrelevant. So that's why some people, when they have these kinds of challenges, when they are anxious about things, they are not able to eat. Because the body stops secreting that hormone that makes you feel hungry. Okay? In the same way, how can you be in danger and sleep? So even though the danger is perceived, the body will respond to it as if it was actual and real. And so these things operate in the background. So I keep saying that it's not just one single trigger that pushes somebody, but that it's an accumulation of different stresses that have sort of compiled over and over and over that have not been looked at. And so with one, it's like the straw that broke the camel's back. That's the phenomenon in mental health. So it's good to be able to, we can prevent most of these challenges with very simple technique. I'm sure we'll come to it.
Yeah, but maybe we can just jump straight into it. But let me announce the phone lines. You can give us a call on 0302-211-6910, 0302-211-6910. And Dorcas, still with, and I want us to merge this with the theme because you're very passionate about the theme for this year. Yeah. So how does what we are supposed to focus on this year helps the cause? Okay, so this year's theme is greater access, greater investments. Mental health is really underfunded. Here in Ghana, how many psychiatric hospitals do we have? That's just 3. Now they are doing well, like the other hospitals are all like having mental health departments and all that, yes. But it's so expensive. If you go to the Accra Psychiatric, it's less expensive, but I won't go there. Why I'll go to Kolebu. Yeah, because I don't want someone to see me and call me mad girl. So we haven't done well with the awareness bit so that people get to accept that these are things that happen to human beings like us. It can happen to anybody. So why do you feel safe going to Kolebu, the mental health department, and not going to the psychiatric hospital? The stigma. It's posh. Okay. And Kolebu is posh. I mean, yeah. Okay. When I get admitted at Kolebu, it's a VIP ward. I mean, when I go to Accra Psychiatric, it's not the same. So I won't go there. The care I'll get at Kolebu is not the same. Okay. And it's very expensive at Kolebu. The last time I was there to see a psychiatrist, the consultation alone was 110. And this is not covered by the health insurance? Oh, please. No. Not at all. And mental health treatment is supposed to be free in Ghana. So in the books, it's free, but it's on the ground, it's not. It's very expensive, and it's not covered by insurance, not even private insurance. So you can't even contribute that. Maybe sometime if I need it, I can. You know, so it's very difficult. A lot of people need help. I talk to them, they accept that they need help. Now I guess to the money bit, and they're like, Charlie, so you mean... By the time he or she finishes with everything, the drugs and all, like 300 cedis, that's a lot of money. You know, that's a lot of, and because the thing cannot be seen, the illness, it's not like my leg is broken and it has been bandaged, nobody can see. So the person would prefer to keep it than to go and pay 300 cedis or something like that. Well, I will continue with this. Let's speak to Ben. Ben is joining us on the phone. Hello, Ben. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning, madam.
Yes, sir. You're good? You sound a bit low.
Yes, I'm fine.
Okay, great. Let's hear you.
Yeah, I want to ask the man.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, I have a child. He's 3 years now, but he's hyperactive.
You have a 3-year-old
Son.
Uh-huh.
But he's very hyperactive.
Okay.
So we went to the clinician in Bolaga here, but he gave us some drugs, but still the child is not doing well. I want to find out from the man if there's any other help.
Okay, just hold on. Are there any follow-up questions you want to ask him? Oh, you're good.
No, this
okay.
Is a good
all right, Ben, thank you very much.
Okay. I'm guessing that Ben may be looking at it from a perspective of ADHD, which is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. However, Ben, at that age, it's okay for children to be extremely active. Sometimes they will drain you, but the more activity you allow them or you create for them, let them do more outside time. If even that doesn't help, then maybe you want a second opinion. I don't know what medications have been given, but to make a judgment of whether a child should take medication because they're hyperactive involves a long process. So we're willing to have a conversation with you outside of this to offer you any assistance that you may require.
Okay, so Ben, here's what you do. Kindly call us right after this conversation, the same number that you called, so that we can put you in direct contact. Let's hear from Rowdy. Good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, thank you for your time. Let's hear, is it a question or a contribution? Hello? Hello, Rowdy.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, can you hear me, please?
Yes, please. I
okay,
can hear you.
All right, please go ahead. We're listening.
Okay, my name is Laura, calling from CNA.
Okay, I can hear you, but we seem to have a problem. Kindly turn down the volume on that television set, okay, so that you can.
Are you okay?
You can listen to us. But yes, I am.
All right, sure. I'm also having an issue, and the thing is, I wake up every morning, and sometimes I feel like crying. I don't have any issue with anyone, but I feel like crying. And when it goes to that point, I have to cry so that I'll be fine.
Okay. And how often does this happen?
Like 4 times a week, 3 times a week.
Okay. Are there any follow-up questions, the two of you? Others like me?
You see, these things they're very common and they involve like a mix of things.
Okay.
So to make a judgment on one or two, I think what we should do is to have access later so we can have very systematic care.
Okay. All right. Great. Okay. So the point is, if I am walking into Kolebu where you are, and you and I, you've been on the show a lot of times, and I've said, oh, do we have places where you can just walk in? And because sometimes all you feel is you want to talk to someone.
Yes.
And if I have to just talk to someone and pay 120 anytime I feel like talking to someone, that's expensive, isn't it?
You see, that's what people say, but I beg to differ. And this is the reality. I've had dozens of clients who would call in and say, "But you," and you see, privately, you don't charge 120. It's so far more than that. But they keep coming back. Why? Because you are not just talking. People think, or they tend to make very small the job. It's not advice giving, or it's a science. It's a whole principle where I can teach you to control the way neurotransmitters work in your head.
Okay.
So I can help you maintain a mood which you like.
Okay.
And things like, so it's a whole, it's like going to your doctor and they're saying that you have a wound here and they need to stitch. A lot of the times when it comes to physical health, people just do it because it's physical. But the psychological and emotional health, we normally don't look at it. But guess what? When you are in a state of excessive psychological health, it shows in physical ways. I have dozens of clients currently who have been to every single hospital, every single specialist, and they say, all our investigations show you are well. And these things stem from accumulated stress that they haven't looked at. To the point of losing hair, feeling pains all over your body, even though the tests are saying there's no pain. Feeling that some people feel they have an acid reflux. They eat and the food is stuck here, and it doesn't go. And we equally put our measures in to treat it, and it works. So that tells you that it's not a simple thing.
Yeah.
Mental health becomes even extra expensive because it's not a one-time thing. Like in physical health.
Yeah.
The consistency is important. And for me, I think that if we're expanding this conversation to include workplaces, then it means signing on to what we call employee assistance programs. That sort of becomes a preventive aspect to even get in there in the first place.
I'll give you the opportunity to expand on that. Let's speak to Alan. Hello, Alan. Do I still have you?
Hello.
Ellen, well, thank you for holding. Sorry about that. Let's hear you.
I said, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Ellen. Go ahead.
I said, I don't understand the polar something. The polar what?
The bipolar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but what is your interest in that? Is this something that you identify with?
No.
Okay, you just want to understand it. Okay. Let's speak to Daniel. So, Ellen, thank you. We'll try and get a bit of clarification on that. Let's speak to Daniel. Daniel is in Quansah. Good morning, Daniel.
Hello, good morning, madam.
Yes, sir. Thank you for reaching out. Let's hear you.
Oh, nice. Thank you so much. Actually, I just want to tap into the program. I think consistently for some time, I've been experiencing some mood swings, and I don't really know if that can fall into that category of, I have not really made the attempt to visit the hospital for any of such, so I don't really know if that fits into it, because one moment I am energetic, I want to do this, and the next moment it runs down, and then that is it. So it affects a lot of things. So for some time now, I find it very difficult to even know as to whether this is what I can do or this is what I cannot do. Because one moment I'm good at this and I feel so energetic, I want to do this. And the next moment it runs down, and then I have to switch to other stuff.
Okay. All right, Daniel, thank you for opening up. Let's hear your thoughts on that.
Okay, so first of all, the lady was asking about the distinction for a bipolar. So a bipolar is a mood disorder. So it affects your mood. And it oscillates between being either extremely happy, which we call a euphoria. Now that's the manic phase, or being extremely down or depressed and feeling that life is meaningless. Now in the depressive phase, like she mentioned, it's so difficult for her to want to do anything. You lose your motivation. Sometimes your sleep is impaired, or you just want to be in bed the whole time. There is no energy for you to want to do anything. Coupled with feeling suicidal, feeling alone, and usually in that phase, people tend to withdraw. One, because other people tend to say, just get out of bed, and it starts to get annoying and frustrating. So then they will withdraw. Now, in the manic phase, people are full of energy. There's a decreased need for sleep. They are doing things that they ordinarily wouldn't do. Like you see somebody who used to be a very stay-at-home person going out every single day. They are dressing in funny ways or in ways that seem a bit excessive, either very short or extra colorful. And they are laughing with everybody, but before you know that person was more reserved and to themselves. Now, if you experience a swing in between these moods, there is a possibility that you may be having some form of mood disorder.
Okay.
Yes.
We'll tackle Daniel, but let's go to one more call that we have on the line. Nana Mankwa. Good morning, Nana Mankwa. Yes,
Mama,
sir.
I have a problem. I have a 5-year-old son.
Yes, Nana, we're listening. You have a 5-year-old son.
Yeah, who is very hyperactive. When you put him here, the next time when you come, he's outside there.
Okay.
And he can't speak. He can't speak. Even if he wants to eat, he cannot even tell us that he wants to eat. And when you put anything, maybe a liquid kerosene, by the time that you can just in it. So I want to know the problem so that I can take him to hospital.
Okay.
Because when I took him to hospital, they said nothing but signs of autism. I don't know much about it.
Okay. All right. We'll try and tackle that. But let's speak to Ekow. Good morning, Ekow.
Good morning, Mama V.
Yes, Ekow. Thank you for calling. Let's hear you.
Thank you. Please, my question is, can continuous mood swing have any link to mental health?
Kindly ask your question again.
Continuous mood swing.
I'm asking if, like, continuous mood swing can also have any link to mental health.
Okay. All right. Yes. Thank you very much. So we're just going to hold the calls for now because I think we have to address very important, and I understand many calls coming through, but let's address the issues. I don't want to forget about Daniel.
Okay, so Daniel talked about having these mood swings. Now remember that in as much as the mood swings is one of the criteria for diagnosing a bipolar, mood swings can also be caused by stress, which is frustrations in your environment. And definitely what happens is, because you are frustrated, you are not able to achieve your goals, that pent-up energy tends to make you switch between moods. And those ones are not as excessive. You see, mood swings are very different from a bipolar. Mood swings, we call, are a bit more minimal. The bipolar sides of depression and mania are severe. Some people describe mood swings as one moment he's cool with us, the other moment he's obnoxious. Well, that is a bit minimal, and let's put it into context that there could be some trigger why you are acting that way. Now, if you find that it's something you are doing very consistently and you've been doing for at least 6 months, that's something you need to come for us to assess to be sure that there's actually something.
Okay.
So then Nana Amankwa says that their child is constantly moving around.
The 5-year-old.
This is a message to everybody out there. Children are naturally curious, okay? That's because they are learning. Now, as they explore, as they work on the environment, they tend to learn. So a child will learn because the stimuli is new. Now, notice something. If a child becomes used to toy A, they tend not to play too much with the toy because it doesn't offer them enough stimulation. Then you introduce toy B, toy C in that order. For us to say that a child has a problem with hyperactivity, it comes with a number of other things, like attention, that they have a problem with attention, so they are failing in school, or that they are constantly blurting out answers. They are unable to. They are making little mistakes. They are trying to finish things on time. There are a number of other criteria we need to look at. So for me, if you've been to the hospital and you've been assessed by a certified or qualified mental health professional, and they're saying that there's nothing wrong, chances are it is true. And what it means is to open more avenue for the child to explore the environment. You see, parents want to always put our children in check, in control. Do this, do it here, do... Now, it's frustrating on the child. You put yourself in a situation where you go to a new environment. You're eager to look around because it's a natural human drive to want to know what is going on. So you hide the thing here. Why is this thing hidden? I have to find out. And that may sometimes seem a bit much, but I say they are teachable moments. So you take the child looks at it, you say, this is this. I mean, for children who maybe haven't gained the ability to speak yet, it's also another opportunity for you to help them with naming.
Okay.
So there are a number of things we have to consider. It's not so...
All right. So I know that, as a parent, when you have an issue like that, you probably see the pediatrician.
Yes.
So if that's the person that she's seen already, who else can she see?
So the pediatrician may either refer you to see a child psychiatrist or a child psychologist or a speech and language therapist.
Okay.
So there are a range of these services.
Okay.
And all of them will give you the necessary insight. And don't forget that we work as a multidisciplinary team. So the child psychiatrist might say, okay, this is something that medication would help with. And may treat or say, no, this is something that behavior therapy will work with. And they'll refer. Okay. And we might also see and say, well, so we refer in that order.
Okay. The last question, and then Dorcas, I'll come to you in terms of the workplace.
What was the last question?
Continuous mood swings, yes.
Okay, good. Now, it might be an indication, like I said. Frustration usually tends to show in people having emotional ups and downs. So you think about feeling frustrated at work, feeling that the things you want to do, you're not able to achieve them. You're already frustrated, so the little trigger you get angry. If you think of it on another day where life is fine, the home environment's okay, that same trigger may not push you to feel that way. So if it's something that's happening consistently, there could be a number of reasons. So do get the help, or do get the reading resources to sort of get some information. But please also, when you read out there, remember that things are contextual. Some people have become Google doctors. They read on Google and then they make diagnoses. That is something I don't subscribe to.
Okay, great. Thank you for the advice.
Somebody talked about crying all the time. She said
yes.
She's in church and she's crying and all that.
Oh.
Like you wake up and you feel like crying. And she has to cry to feel
better. Okay, so yes, we notice a number of these things where we try to cope with the challenges we face. Now, sometimes these coping mechanisms become habitual. I have clients who feel really down and they have to cut themselves to feel a sense of relief. That's also indicative of another level of mental
But that's
health.
not because they want to kill themselves.
No.
Okay.
The cutting gives them relief.
Okay.
You see, the cutting, just like how some people say, when I cry, I feel relief. There are people who also punch or break things and then they feel some relief. But all of these things are telling us that there are things that are in there that perhaps, and I remember she saying that nothing has happened. See, the reality is, most of our stresses, we don't notice them. They are in the background. It could be a simple thing as somebody in your workplace who is annoying you, or your boss who's constantly giving you some pressure. See, some people wake up in the morning and they say, oh God, I have to go to work again. Now, that statement alone tells the mind that we are in trouble. And the mind goes with a certain label. Look at it this way. If you label somebody and you say this person is annoying, even when they say good morning, the good morning sounds annoying to your mind. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Or if you say someone is obnoxious, even they say, so madam, please, can you help? It sounds like they actually, and those are the unconscious aspects of the mental health stresses that we face. And most of the times, it will take a professional to make you identify that this is what the problem is. And in our part of the world where people don't tend to want to show any sign of weakness because, you know, talking to a mental health professional makes you weak. They show but oh, it's not a big deal. Oh, it's not a big deal, and it's compounding. And then one day it breaks. And I have dozens of clients. First time you meet them, you're talking to them, and you say something very neutral, and they start crying. Why? Because there are things in there. There's pain, there's emotional pain that needs to be vented out. And you need someone to guide you to do those kinds of things.
Let's finish the last leg of this at the workplace. Good. And what you said also brings what my new friend, you know, who was talking to me about, you know, suicide, said that when she said to her brother that she wasn't feeling so great, brother said, oh, but you are the one who's always been giving tips and, you know, getting people better. Just one of those inspirational words that you tell people. Tell it to yourself and you'll be fine. So in the workplace, I mean, if you don't get any support at home, and here you are, you come to your HR and you're able to open up to the HR, but you're asking for days off. They should be able to help in other ways. What should be in the workplace? And I'm asking you, Dorcas, this question first before I come to you.
So in the workplace, like me, for instance, when I was here at my job online, I remember I used to fight with everybody, including my boss. And it was so hard. Everybody's like, she's so stubborn, she doesn't, and I also feel they don't understand. So I think that everybody has to get mental health education. You are holding your phone, you go to Google, please find out what mental health is. Find out what we should know. So, because if we know, it will be easier to deal with people. And I'm sure if back then I had known that my mental health was the reason I was acting in certain way, I wouldn't really have been bored. Because mostly I was feeling sad because I thought I was a bad person. But something was actually wrong with me. And maybe I didn't accept it, because even then I was going to see my doctor, I was taking my medicine. But I was like this, and people would talk, and she's always fighting, and her mouth is sharp, and the things nobody will say, me I will say, because I don't fear anybody. Every day my boss will be like, you there, you don't fear anything, you know. And And I didn't know it was because of my condition that I react that way. Okay, so I think that if the awareness is there, it helps a lot for people to be more accepting and even like guide us, put us in line. Like I said, I have people around me that when I'm doing things, they are like, Charlie, watch it. So at the workplace, if I'm going out of line, there should be somebody who should, Charlie, I think, so that the person will just check himself. But if we all don't know and we are always pointing finger, you're a bad girl, you don't respect, you are this, you are that, it only makes the situation worse.
Yeah. Mr. Safo, you're interested in what should be at the workplace?
Well, I mean, before I start, I want to commend some of the corporate institutions who have actually risen up to the task of incorporating mental health into the organizations in a way. So I know personally, I've worked with a number of institutions when this whole COVID pandemic struck. They had online sessions with us for their employees as a group, even when work was about to resume, just to get them back into the system and make them understand what happens when you're faced with uncertainty, what happens when you have to change. And you know, typically, change just unsettles humans. And interestingly, it's interpreted by the brain as danger. So anything that is change causes these kinds of things. Now, sometimes there's very simple things that organizations can do to help their staff. And I say that they don't have to do it alone. You can get the help of a more knowledgeable other and let them do that job for you. And in a lot of research now, you're noticing that for most organizations that are extremely productive, they have what we call employee assistance programs or EAPs. And these EAPs tend to offer help in several modalities for employees. And this definitely tells on or enhances their mental health. So I am saying that the organizations out there that provide these services and corporates and workplaces should, if you can't have a mental health ambassador within your institution, please get external support for your staff, just so that their productivity will increase. So you can also check the decline of mental health before it gets out to a stage of burnout. So most employees, we notice, they burn out. And when they burn out, there's nothing that you can actually do that works for them. They are burnt out. When you talk about stress, stress is like drowning. Burnout is drying up. You are finished. There's nothing anymore. There's no motivation. You see, whereas somebody who's stressed may see that if I get my stresses in check, I can still move on. A person who's burnt out cannot see beyond. They're totally, is done, and they get helpless and they don't want to do anything. And these are things that employee assistance programs can do. Also, let's also increase or let's enlarge the conversation on mental health and its effect and the simple things that we can do to protect our mental health. I'm going to tell you the very easy ones. That you don't need money for exercise, number one. Exercise is one of the easiest ways to protect your mental health. One, because when you're exercising, especially outside, you allow your mind to turn off from all the things that bother you because you're so focused on that particular exercise. Sleep is also an amazing resource. Now, we normally say that at least if you are busy, you 6 hours of sleep you should get. And people don't understand the principle. You see, when you sleep, we have what we call oxytocin, which is the happy hormone or the love hormone that's released into your body. Okay, now it takes about 90 minutes to go through one cycle of sleep. So in one cycle of sleep, there's one dose release. 2 cycles, 2 doses. So 6 hours gives us at least 4 doses, which means that if you're sleeping really well, you are getting more doses of oxytocin, which are natural mood enhancers. And then, so sleep. So
exercise,
sleep, and fun. Have fun. Make time to enjoy something. See, I tell people that I create pockets of fun and I put them in my basket. So when I hit times that are hard, I go and remove one of the fun and say, I remember this one. So that it mitigates the negative effect of me feeling down. So in as much as you create these memories of fun and fun activities, I mean, you can think about a time where something happened that was so happy and you actually feel nostalgic. It's like you go back into that zone and it counteracts on the stress or the negative mood that you feel at the moment. So these ones, you don't have to pay for it. You don't have to pay for it. Have fun,
thank you.
Sleep,
exercise,
and good nutrition and diet.
Okay.
Let's avoid eating foods that are high in fat, because they give us a quick stimulation and then we crash even harder. Yes.
Okay. All right. Dorcas, there are a lot of calls that we couldn't pick. You know, my director kept saying that calls were coming through, but I needed time for us to absorb the questions that had come through. So how do people reach Others Like Me, which is a very important support group?
Okay, so we are on Facebook, Others Like Me, GH, and then Instagram as well. But then you can reach us on 050-470-1239.
That was really fast.
050-470-1239. Yes.
Okay.
It would help.
All right. So how do we, because we have people, am I still asking them to call us after the show so that you can get to speak to them?
Yes, they can.
Okay.
Secondly, I'd also want to talk about some support groups out there. Now, there is a program called the CORE, that's the COVID-19 Recovery Program. It's being spearheaded by Ghana Psychological Association, Springboard Roadshow, and then Solidarity and the MasterCard Foundation.
Okay.
Now, you can find CORE online. They have groups of counselors and counseling groups that you can join, and it has at least 2 professionals, of which I'm one, who will offer different bouts of psychological lessons to help you build resilience in the face of all of this. And I think it's something that you should do. The Ghana Psychological Association has a number of, they have some numbers that you can reach out to. And also the PsyCorp Corporation also has some numbers that you can reach to get at least first aid psychological help. And I think these are resources that we all need to tap in.
Fantastic. When you say CORE, is it CORE as in C-O-R-E?
C-O-R-E, so COVID-19 Recovery Fund.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right, great. Well, thank you for your time. Dorcas, I know that you're very passionate about this and you're making some... Can I get you 30 seconds for the appeal that you're making on this day?
Okay. So I want to appeal to governments and other stakeholders, civil society, corporate Ghana. Please, let's invest in mental health, because everybody, 1/4 of our population is mentally ill. So please, it's everywhere. Wherever you are, there's someone there who is mentally ill. And to get the best out of people, they have to be supported. So let's not pretend like we don't know or we haven't seen. Let's put in the necessary resources so that people can get the necessary support that they need, and we have a healthy society.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Seth Mausia Safo. Always grateful for your conversations and the help that you give to us and also our viewers. To those who want to reach out to him, kindly call us in about maybe 2 minutes or so when we wrap up, so that you can have a direct contact to him. 2 things we're doing. We'll be touching base with our correspondent in the Central Region, Richard Kojo-Nyako. He spoke to us when we started the show. We will be going back to him on the latest, what he has gathered with regards to the killing of the sitting member of parliament for Mfantseman. And then, of course, we'll be talking about the National Science and Maths Quiz, which is coming up also on the show. But here's something just a little before the conversation.
Very well done. You have won the championship. I am pleased to congratulate you on your achievement as 2020 National Science and Math Quiz champions. Hooray! I am also a purposely designed engineering material created by combining single materials. Yes, Isaac?
Composites.
Composites. I was reading the 5th clue, 3 points. At the end of the contest, here are the final scores. Opokuwari School has 21 points. Adisadel College has 31 points. Legon has 36 points. Opokwari School, congratulations for making it all the way to the grand finale. You did well, but unfortunately, anyway. Adisadel College, congratulations to you also. Thank you for giving us a great contest. Unfortunately, you couldn't take the trophy, but you did well. You did very well. I'm happy to declare you second place. Presec Legon. Congratulations on winning the contest. Very well done. You have won the championship. I am pleased to congratulate you on your achievement as 2020 National Science and Math Quiz champions. Hooray!
That's how it ended. Okay, so the last bits of the celebration, but we continue that right here in the studio because Dr. Elsie Ekow is here, quiz mistress, National Science and Maths Quiz. Oh, thank you. Also in the studio is Naneki and Kumasari, Managing Director, Primetime Limited. They did it again this year. Even with the COVID, when we thought it was going to be a bit difficult, still very exciting. And Afo Jidafo Afram, coach of the Presec Legon NSQ. Okay, I'm messing it up. But the National Science and Maths Quiz is the team. You prepared the boys to take the sixth trophy this time. So congratulations to you. Would be appropriate. A very good morning to all of you.
Good morning.
Let me start with the organizers. So Naneke, I guess that will be you.
Yeah.
You pull this off. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
How different has this year's organization been from the previous ones that you've organized?
Very different in many ways. First of all, we had to, the timetable was different. We had to travel around the country to do the prelims. And then we did the national, we had two centers at the 1/8 stage. Usually it's one. And we do it, the 1/8, the 27 contests in 9 days, usually, when Dr. Ekow handles it alone. This time we did it in 4 days. So everything was so much shorter and the pressure was great. We had to do 4 contests a day for the first 3 days. And then the last day was 3 contests at the venue. So we did 7 contests a day for the first 3 days. And then 6 in the last day. We've been running on a crazy busy, tight schedule.
Yeah.
And so many things were different. We had to do COVID-19 tests for everybody in camp. If you saw the video that we showed, you saw that the students, the teachers, the crew, the quiz mistresses, everybody had to get tested. We had to provide everybody with masks and disinfect the halls.
Fortunately, you didn't record cases.
Fortunately,
no cases.
And we had a 24-hour on-site clinic, and managed by a health team led by Dr. Shadi Wiafe from the University of Ghana Medical Center. So we had to invest a lot of resources into protecting the contingent. We provided vitamin C and zinc tablets, the effervescent type, for everybody in camp. So you can imagine what the figures looked like at the end of the day. But we are really, really glad we were able to do it in a safe environment for everybody. That was our aim.
Nice.
Yes.
Quiz mistress, how different was this finals, the whole temperature from the previous one? Did it feel like there was COVID in the air?
Well, we couldn't avoid thinking about it because I had to wear the mask This is not something I normally do every time. So it was certainly different from previous competitions. Yes.
There were a lot of moments, when I say moments, but this is typically you, the quiz mistress, taking charge. But there was also a moment for me where I thought this year we would have at least a girl in one of the schools or an all girls in the finals. How disappointing was it for you not to see at least a girl feature in the finals?
Well, we've been talking about the conditions that prevail at the competition, which may not be conducive for the girls' schools to win. We've talked in the past about the crowds and the noise they make and so on. And so this year I was actually hopeful because the crowds were certainly much smaller. And we had a psychologist in place to work with them. I thought everything was in place for a girls' school to do well this year. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. So that means we have to go back and try to understand what is going on. Yes, I really believe we need a formal study on how the girls are preparing and presenting themselves at the competition.
You were all a lot more closer to the action than those of us who were watching. What happened to the Ola girls?
Oh, to be honest, once I finish a contest, I don't remember anything about it.
Okay. Maybe Naneka would, and we can link it to the larger issue of the girls.
Right. So on the issue of the girls, the things that go against them, this year we didn't do a study, but I think a study is in order. What we did was to talk with the trainers of some of the teams. So we spoke with Holy Child, the trainer for Holy Child, and he brought on a new perspective that we hadn't thought about before, that sometimes even physiological obstacles, like maybe the girl wakes up in the morning and she has menstrual cramps, for example. That in itself is a challenge because there's pain to overcome on that day, and that is a contest day. And then, of course, the usual challenges they have with the training, the preparation of the students, and the odd hours that the boys' schools keep, the girls' schools can't keep up with that. So you realize that there's a very big difference in how they are trained.
Okay.
So I think that the girls' schools that get to the quarterfinals are really, really excellent. And if they had half the training that the boys get, they'd do much better.
Yeah.
So perhaps we have to look at the training that they get and the time they start their preparation.
Okay.
Most of them start in their third year, which is already too late. In the second year, the boys are already having competitions all over the place.
Yeah.
So catching up is difficult.
Yeah. Let me find out from our coach here how preparation is like. I'm not sure you share all your secret tips with us, but how do you do it, and how did you do it particularly at this time?
With preparation, we have to pick the students early. So normally we look at this particular group when they came. Previously, we also normally choose them from second year. But when they came, during the first term, we decided to do something different. We did inter-class quizzes first term for Form 1. And then I think most of them were on stage. Most of the people we saw who represented the school, they were on stage, and it was so exciting. So it brought them that atmosphere. So they were working on their own until we picked them. So in picking them, we look at their class performance, we rank them, and then sometimes we just listen to the whole school that we want them to come and take exams. So they take a series of tests, and then from the tests we pick we'll continue reducing the number. As some will come and do not do well at all. Some they come and we will see it, consistency.
Okay.
So they take a series of tests, then we pick them. So we pick first a larger number. As time goes on, we trim the number down. But for PRESEC, one challenge I always have is how to pick the final students, because we always pick them very late, even though we start training early. You see the team going, the dynamics. Today this one will perform well, another time somebody will go up. And then even normally when we come to Legon to camp, before we pick the final student, and it was very, very tough because we had a final 6 and we managed to trim it down to a final 4.
to choose that Final Four was a very tough decision.
But this is, hearing you, this is like a whole project, oh.
Yes, it is.
And this is a National Science Maths Quiz project.
Yes, it is.
Interesting. But what do you teach?
I teach physics.
Oh, okay. You should be Dr. Kaufman's friend.
I taught him.
You did?
My lecturer, yes. She was my lecturer.
My first year at University of Ghana, he was in my class.
Oh, incredible. Nice. But what are some of the memories that you've carried with you with this context, Dr. Kaufman?
I remember more the quality of answers that I received from some of the students and their ability to answer some questions which I thought were difficult. I personally thought some questions were difficult, and they were able to answer them. So I think we have the quality of students, or the contestants are getting better and better each year.
Are they also coming up with certain tricks? Because there was a moment, I don't remember which particular contest, where you say, oh, you're setting your own question and answering, because they didn't allow you to finish the riddle, but the person started answering, and from my perspective, from the beginning of whatever it is, so you definitely find the answer in between. So it was a long answer that the person gave.
Yes, well, they've always, this is a quiz program, these are young people, they've always had their tricks. But it's my responsibility to be aware of what tricks are available. But with regard to the round 2, which is the speed race, they are allowed to answer the question at any moment in time. It's up to them. As long as you ring, we'll give you the opportunity to answer, whether we finished giving you the question or not. And so if you decide that you can anticipate what question you are going to be asked and you start answering that, I will allow you to go ahead and answer. But eventually, if you don't give the answer I'm expecting, and the consultants, by the way, have also been getting very, very interesting and clever in the way they are setting the speed race. So they will intentionally have a first part, and then there's a second part. If you don't wait for the second part, you answer the first part very well, and then I still can't give it to you because you haven't answered the second part.
Yeah.
Okay. So what they were doing, basically, it's a gamble. Yeah. It's a strategy.
Yeah.
And you are free to use that strategy if you want. Set your own question and answer it, and hope that is the question I have.
Yeah. You realize that worked against St. Peter's and Assin State in their contest. Yes.
But Anukia, there were calls for VAR. I think something new has been introduced around this time. It looks like we have to find a way of playing back.
But we've always been doing that. We've always done that. We've always played back. At the regionals, at the national, we've always played back when there's been a challenge. It's nothing new.
Okay.
So and you know that this is unique about this competition, that we allow the schools to challenge the questions if they feel that the answer they gave was right. So
maybe, I don't know, because sometimes the tension that it creates, the moment where the school says, oh, but that's the answer that we gave. And then we now have to wait and see what did it mean.
You know something? This year, we did do some playbacks, but it was not obvious on TV because we had the live stream. We could always go just to the phone, play back that section and let them listen to it. A number of challenges were resolved that we didn't even go up to the stage because of that. So we've always had the ability to play back and check.
Okay, great. So just before we have the boys come in here, I know that you definitely acknowledge your sponsors, those who have made it possible for this competition to happen.
Yes. So our first and biggest thanks go to the Ghana Education Service, GS, for sponsoring the National Science and Maths Quiz. They are the main sponsors of the program. Thank you to the Ministry of Education for the support. Thank you to Absa Bank Ghana Limited for partnering us and enriching our program so much. Joy News, thank you very much. Prudential Life Insurance, Goyle, Airtel Tigo, Newmont Ghana, Accra College of Medicine, Academic City University College, Central University, Medifem Multi-Specialist Hospital and Fertility Center, Dano Milk, Adansi Travels, GTP, Third Eye Care Vision Center, YFM. Those are the sponsors of, the corporate sponsors, and we thank them very much. I must also say a very big thank you to the Ghana Health Service and the Noguchi Memorial Institute for all the support they gave us with the COVID-19 testing. we're able to test everybody for free because of them, and we appreciate their help very much. I'd also like to acknowledge the individual sponsors of the special prizes. So the Banful family for the Jacob and Elizabeth Banful Memorial Award, to Mrs. Eugene Ahin and Bubune Adi for the awards that they instituted. And thank you very much to all of you for funding the NSMQ and for giving the teachers, the students, and everybody motivation to put in their very best. I also want to say a very big thank you to the team of consultants and the quiz mistresses and the moderators at the regional level and all our collaborators. We have a lot of people we work with at the regional offices of education, the science coordinators. I'd like to say a really big thank you to our team of psychologists for keeping everybody sane and consoling those who lost. You know, thank you very much to our health team for keeping us safe. Thank you very much to everybody who contributed to the program and made it a success. And hats off to the Primetime team. You are wonderful.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for another exciting competition this year.
Thank you.
You gave us a show, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
you for your support.
You owe me. Your boys owe me, at least. They're coming on, but there's something that I want to show you. Here we go.
Happy are we, studious are we, students of Presbyterian Secondary School. Onward we march, we trudge along to happy victory, to victory, to victory. Our motto is a solid bulwark propping us along. Illuminate you, be there be Muslim men in the light, we shall see light. Illuminate you, be there be Muslim men. For Christian training we get a sure solid foundation to take our places in the future of our country and church. For Christian training we get a sure solid foundation to take our places in the future of our country. Oh, come along and join us. Oh, come along and join us. Happy studios are we. For Christian training we get a sure solid foundation to take our places in the future of our country and church. For Christian training we get a sure solid foundation to take our places in the future of our country. Oh, come along and join us. Oh, come along and join us. Happy studios are we.
So who win?
You tell us.
Oh.
Sure.
Should I? How can I?
It's a prediction. It's like any game.
Oh, you want me to predict?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What's the prize? What are you putting on it?
Part of the winning money.
Part of the winning. Say it again. Part of it. Say it all. I have witnesses. I mean, is your master here? As in your teacher, coordinator.
Yeah, he's with us.
So say it again so that he can hear you. Oh. Then I can predict that Presec will win. Then you give me part of the money if it does come true. So who will win?
You tell us.
Oh.
Sure.
Should I? How can I?
It's a prediction. It's like any game.
Oh, you want me to predict?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What's the prize? What are you putting on it?
Part of the winning money.
Part of the winning. Say it again. Part of it. Say it all. I have witnesses. I mean, is your master here? As in your teacher, coordinator.
Yeah, he's with us.
So say it again so that he can hear you. Oh. Then I can predict that Presec will win. Then you give me part of the money if it does come true.
I am also a purposely designed engineering material created by combining single materials. Yes, Isaac?
Composite.
I was reading the fifth clue, 3 points. At the end of the contest, here are the final scores. Opokuwari School has 21 points. Adisadel College has 31 points. Presec Legon has 36 points. Opokuwari School, congratulations for making it all the way to the grand finale. You did well, but unfortunately, anyway. Adisadel College, congratulations to you also. Thank you for giving us a great contest. Unfortunately, you couldn't take the trophy, but you did well. You did very well. I'm happy to declare you second place. Presec Legon. Congratulations on winning the contest. Very well done. You have won the championship. I am pleased to congratulate you on your achievement as 2020 National Science and Math Quiz champion.
Happy are we, studious are we, students of Presbyterian Secondary School. Onward we march, we trudge along to happy victory, to victory, to victory. Our motto is a solid bulwark propping us along. Illuminate you, be the beamers lumen. In the light, we shall see light. Illuminate you, be the beamers lumen. For Christian training we get a sure solid foundation to take our places in the future of our country and church. For Christian training we get a sure solid foundation to take our places in the future of our country. Oh, come along and join us. Oh, come along and join us. Happy studios are we. For Christian training we get a sure solid foundation to take our places in the future of our country and church. For Christian training we get a sure solid foundation to take our places in the future of our country. Oh, come along and join us. Oh, come along and join us. Happy studios are we.
Where's my money? Where is my money? Congratulations to you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Benjamin, Daniel, Isaac, Black Panther. You guys did it. But you're also regional champions, let's not forget. Yeah. And then now you're national champions. Yeah. Oh, gosh. Who has called you since you won?
Called?
Yes.
Oh, a lot of people.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Daniel?
Same.
Any surprises here and there? What you didn't think was going to happen? Has anything unusual happened? Black Panther.
Not
okay,
really.
Isaac, sorry.
Not really.
Why do they call you Black Panther?
Because I'm dark.
But how was it yesterday? You guys went back to Presec Legon.
Yeah.
How was it? Did you even manage to sleep?
Slept for just a few hours. Because the nights was just you couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do your parents think of you? They've called, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
What have they said? Garpeto, can I hear from you?
Yeah. My parents were very proud. They were actually at the venue during the quiz, so I spoke to them.
Okay, so what if I told you that your mother is joining us on Zoom right now?
Wow.
Yeah, there it is. Good morning to you. Gakpeto's mother. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. You've been following the competition. Did you think that they were going to win?
Well, it's been challenging, but I thank God that it ended so well.
Yeah.
Nice. Yes, ma'am, you were going to say something.
Yes, we wanted to attend during the quarterfinals and semi-finals, and Daniel told us that we should wait and come on Thursday. I said, hey, thinking that we were so confident that they were getting to the finals. So we listened to him and we waited until yesterday.
Well, was there any point in time yesterday that you thought, my boys are not going to make it? Were you going to give up at any point?
It was quite challenging at a point, I must confess. When the Mbebo guy, I like that boy so much. Every parent will feel proud of such a son. When the boy came on, in fact, he gave us a scare. And for a moment, I thought we were going to lose it, but thank God that we made it.
Yeah.
The margin was so slim. But the most important thing is that these guys, Benji, Daniel, and Isaac made it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your support and your prayers. I guess that also contributed. Thank you for joining us, Mom.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. You told your mom to come on the finals?
Yeah.
Like you had booked the seats even before. But the quarterfinals wasn't easy, guys. Yeah. What were you thinking? You could have been eliminated at that point.
Yeah. At that point, a lot of thoughts will be running through your mind, but you have to clear all of them because you're on stage, and you don't want to be allowing thoughts to just weigh you down. So you just have to forget about everything and keep on pressing. Yeah.
So what's up next for you guys? Because you're all in final year.
Yes.
So you're finished. You have an exam coming up, by the way. Is that it?
You're
you're done.
Yeah, I'm done.
Oh, so you're graduates.
Yes.
Oh, interesting. So what's up next for you guys? What have you chosen to pursue? I'll start with you.
Okay.
Black Panther.
Okay, I want to pursue mechanical engineering.
Mechanical engineering.
Yeah.
So you're going to Tech then?
Okay, I'll apply to Ashese.
Okay.
Yeah. I also want to apply to Academic City.
Academic City.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yes, Daniel.
I'm torn between electrical and chemical engineering.
Oh, you haven't decided?
Yeah.
Okay.
I applied for electrical at Academic City and chemical engineering at Tech.
Oh, I can't hear you.
I applied for chemical engineering at Tech and
Okay.
electrical at Academic City.
Okay. All right. And you, Benji?
Yeah, I'm going to pursue medicine. Yeah, applied for medicine at both Legon and Kia University.
Okay.
And I had an interview with Accra College of Medicine
Okay.
the day before the finals.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think there's something that comes with winning, right?
Yeah.
Is it with Academic City or one of the institutions?
Yeah. Academic City.
Okay. So you would love to go there?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, okay, guys, can you leave this behind? You're like, oh, why not? Did you all hear it when he said, if you predict and we win, then you give me part of the prize?
Mm-hmm.
So where's my money?
But you were saying you didn't predict.
I didn't.
He said, if we'll give you part of the money, then I can predict Prisek.
Yeah, and then you said you will.
But you didn't.
Did I mention any other school?
Okay, don't worry.
Did I mention any other school?
No. Okay, so you predicted us.
Okay, guys, listen, it's been fun. I think that, I told you the last time that you were here, the inspiration that you give to people is also one of the things, the reason we are so proud of you. So thank you, congratulations for winning this, regional champions, national champions, and we will see you some other place, okay? So what are you guys going to do after this? Today, what's lined up?
We don't really know what's up for today.
Yeah? Your old boys are waiting for you. We've got quite... Oh, you're meeting the president as well. Did you see his tweets?
Yes, we saw it. Yeah.
So you're meeting the president. What are you going to tell me, Mr. President? Have you figured out?
We're going to prepare.
You're going to prepare?
Yes.
How?
You're meeting president.
Okay, guys, all the best, okay? Thank you and congratulations again. That's the president's tweets. Can you read it, Benji?
I can't really see it from here, but I think Daniel can.
Okay, Daniel.
Congratulations.
You have to speak up.
Congratulations to Prisek Legon for emerging victors in the NSMQ 2020. Winning 6 makes them the undisputed kings of the competition. thoroughly well deserved, and I look forward to welcoming them to the Jubilee House soon.
Please, I have one request. Since I couldn't get the money, take me to the Jubilee House when you're going, okay?
Don't worry.
I shouldn't worry.
Yes.
Okay, I'm not. Just the same way that you didn't give me the money, that I'm not worried. And these are the guys who made it our champions for this year's National Science and Maths Quiz. Stay with us. One more thing before we wrap up the show.